Caspar was a wise and clever man who lived in a tiny house on top of a hill. Every night he could be seen gazing up at the sky, for the study of stars was the love of his life. During the day, Caspar would study his great books that told about the heavens and the birth of the long-awaited king who would bring God's kingdom to earth. He only lifted his head to watch for the falling of dusk and the coming of the deep night sky filled with twinkling stars. Then he would watch, sitting by his window, waiting in the silence of 1,000 thoughts. Suddenly, one evening, the silence was broken by Caspar's shout.
"It's here! It's come! At last the star has arrived!"
Caspar ran outside. The new star for which he had been waiting was there, rising into the sky, more beautiful and majestic than any he had ever seen before. He decided that he must begin his journey at once. He packed a few belongings and a gift for the child, gold, dug deep from the mines of the northern lands. Then he set off. He wouldn't need a map. The special star would show him the way to a very special baby. Caspar followed the star for many nights until he found himself in front of the most wonderful and pleasant palace. He stopped and stared in amazement. The star had also stopped, so Caspar thought he had reached the end of his journey. On the place Tyrett, another man was looking up at the sky. Caspar had given shelter at the palace, and the next day he met the man from Tyrett. He was called Melchior. Melchior also loved to study the stars, and the two men were soon talking like old friends.
"I am also here to look for the baby, and I think I have found him. The queen here recently gave birth to her first son. Perhaps this is the baby for whom we are searching. I have a gift of sweet frankincense for him, an offering for the King of Heaven."
They went together to the royal court and asked if they could see the child. As they entered the room, Caspar whispered to Melchior,
"The ancient books told us he is the one who will bring joy and peace to all the world. He will comfort the poor and the sad, and kings and queens will bow down before him. This must be him."
But they were wrong, for just then something in the sky caught their eye. It was the great star moving away from the palace.
So Caspar and Melchior set off once more. After a few days, the star stopped again above a vast and beautiful city. There was no time for sightseeing. The friends hurried off in search of the baby. Inside the king's palace, they met a man called Balthazar. They told him about their adventure. Balthazar's eyes sparkled.
"You won't believe this, but I've been following the star too. I also want to find this baby. I've heard that the king and queen here have recently had a son. Let us go and see him. My books have spoken about him, that he will die and set people free, but death will not hold him. I have myrrh to anoint him."
They made their way through the city to the royal house. As they looked at the baby, Melchior remembered what his books had promised. He will be a great king. He will bring his people out of the land of the darkness and into the kingdom of light.
"Just look at him. Surely this is our king."
But look, the star, it's on the move again. This baby is not the young king we seek. Come on, we must go.
So as the star began to move on, the three wise men also left the city and followed the way the star showed them. But now their faces looked sadder. Maybe their books had not told the truth, or maybe the star was not the one they were supposed to follow. They rode along in silence, each of them wrapped in his own thoughts. Soon they noticed that even the star had abandoned them. It had suddenly disappeared from the sky, and then their troubled hearts became even heavier, weighed down with many questions and doubts.
Maybe we should turn back now. Maybe we are wrong. Maybe our books are wrong.
See lights down there? It's another city. Perhaps we'll find someone there who can give us some answers.
Their hopes rose again as they approached the city of Jerusalem. The following day, news of the three strangers reached the court of Jerusalem's king Herod, a powerful and cruel man. Herod was very worried by what he heard, so he brought together his advisors.
There are three men in the city asking about the birth of a baby. They say he will be king of all people. What does this mean? Who is this baby?
Herod's advisors could only confirm his fears. Their books also told about the coming of a very special baby, but Herod would not listen. He boomed out,
"I am the only king around here, and I will protect my throne at all costs, even if I have to kill to do it."
He banged his fist down on his royal table, and then he smiled as a wicked plan formed in his mind, and he said,
Invite these strangers to the palace. I would like a little talk with them.
Caspar, Melchior and Balthazar gladly accepted Herod's invitation. At last, someone might be able to help them. However, once they were standing in front of him, their enthusiasm quickly trickled away. Herod gave no answers at all. He only asked question after question. He asked them about each and every detail of their journey and what they hoped to find. As he then wished them farewell, he said,
Yes, go and search for the baby, and when you have found him, let me know so that I can also go and worship him.
The three wise men left the palace, disturbed by this strange meeting. Herod did not seem to be as happy or excited about the baby's coming as they were. What did he really want? That evening, the three wise men left Jerusalem after travelling for many cold, dark hours. They saw the faint glow of a fire in the middle of a clearing. As they drew nearer, they noticed seated near him, the merry fire, a shepherd keeping watch of his flock. He invited the three strangers to sit with him and warm themselves. Caspar, Melchior and Balthazar told the shepherd the story of their long journey. The shepherd thought for a moment and then said,
"The other day I came upon a strange sight. At Bethlehem it was. A couple with a tiny baby, and they put him in a manger. Someone said he was a king, but there were no guards or servants around him, just his parents and the animals. Even so, his little face made me so happy and peaceful. I felt special just to be there. And there has been much talk of angels appearing to other shepherds on the hills across the valley." The three wise men looked at each other, then eagerly asked the shepherd to take them to where the baby was. As they went, the star appeared from behind a cloud, shining more brightly than ever, just like the hope and excitement in their hearts. When they arrived, they knelt down beside the baby and gave their gifts: gold, frankincense, and myrrh. They tingled with joy in his presence, a joy that made them want to stay and worship him forever. At last they had met the King of Love. Their real journey had only just begun.